What if you could go back to 18, knowing what you know now? If I had the chance, these are the high income skills I'd focus on. Skills that can make you financially free, give you flexibility and create opportunities for life. In this video, I'll break down the high income skills I'd consider, why they matter, and how I can get started on them today. Before getting into it, let me just define that I see high income skills as abilities that bring in consistent, scalable income because they solve real world problems that businesses or individuals face. And these skills, they don't just pay the bills, they build the foundation for financial freedom and personal growth. And the best part, most of them can be self-taught. The first skill I want to highlight is video editing. You don't really need a lot to get started these days, and you're most likely consuming video content every single day, whether it be on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. Videos are everywhere, and the content market is a booming industry. I'd recommend you start with something like Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, or CapCut. Or if you're on Mac, you can use Final Cut Pro. I personally started with Adobe Premiere Pro. I've been recommended to try DaVinci Resolve and never really got into it, but then I've moved to CapCut, which is what I'm using to edit these videos. One way you can start getting into this is just start trying to make videos. You can even offer edits for friends and then niche into whether or not you want to post short form or long form content just to get started. You can do both, but I'd recommend you start with one. Learn the ins and outs of video editing. And then if you want, you can start something like a YouTube channel, or you can offer your services to businesses that need content. It's a really lucrative niche. This is probably where I would start if I were 18 again. The next one is actually one that I'm working on right now, is coding. Languages like Python or JavaScript can open doors to freelance gigs, tech startups, or even building SaaS projects. The reason I started learning Python is actually because I see the need in the current startup that I work at as a chemist. The guy that's using coding there to build our backend in our database, he's making more money than basically everyone else. And there are platforms like Code Academy you can use to easily get into learning Python, which can also help you get a job later on, if that's the route you want to go. You can get six-figure salaries by learning to code yourself if you put in the time and effort. So this is a very great place to put your time, and this is also something I would definitely consider if I were 18 again and I knew what I knew now, just to start with coding immediately. Another thing that I think is a really great skill is sales, and this is not something I've been working on extensively. I took a sales course when I was in my early 20s because I wanted to start a guitar coaching business, and I mostly ended up taking test clients, and I got my one paying client back then, so I never really got into the nitty-gritty of sales, but I think it's a very useful skill. And if you're really young and you want to make a lot of money, I think sales is probably the easiest way to do it if you get into high-ticket sales. And the thing is, if you're building your own business, you need to be able to sell your product. Your ability to sell is directly tied to revenue. In the sales course, they actually taught sales before the coaching part, because if you cannot sell, you'll never be able to coach because you won't be getting any clients. So we did a bunch of role playing to know how to handle objections, how to become a better listener on the sales calls, and it's just very great skills to have. It's also going to carry over really well to dating, because during the mating process, you're actually selling yourself. You're selling a product, which is you, to a potential mate. So learning sales will also indirectly improve your dating skills. Then the next one is kind of a no-brainer. It's investing in finance management. You gotta understand how money works and how it grows, whether it's stocks, crypto, or real estate. I'd recommend you start with a book like The Psychology of Money, or any book about investing really, and just get a better feel for how money works and how you should use your money. It's really important you understand how money works and grows at some point in your life. And just knowing a bit about your finances and how you psychologically spend your money, how you earn your money, how to get the money to work for you, it's just a really valuable skill that can be great to learn early on. Next up, I have one that's very dear to my heart, which is photography. It's something I always wanted to get into, but since I had so many other things going on during my teens and early 20s, like playing a lot of music, being at different societies at university, and just going to university also took a bunch of my time back then. It took me a while before I got into photography, but there's a lot of niches in photography that can be really lucrative. I'm freelancing in my friend's business, doing a bunch of photo shoots. We're actually taking photos for dating profiles. And per shoot, the clients, they are paying roughly $600 for each shoot. And there's so many different niches you can get into. You can do weddings, you can do branding shoots, you can do portraits like I'm doing. Mastering your camera isn't that difficult if you just do it a lot. That's the way I learned. I did a 365 project, posted a photo to Instagram every day for a year, and then I was really good at photography after doing that. Just because I was taking consistent action every single day and going out and shooting consistently. So that's how I'd recommend learning that if you're into photography. The next thing is fairly new, and that's AI and automation. The world is moving quickly towards integrating AI in a lot of different things. You've most likely used ChatGPT before. And I mentioned coding before. You can use Python for automation. There's so many things in the AI space that can be really useful to use. I've built an AI fitness coach for myself, feeding it workout logs from the last 4 years. And we've basically built the perfect program for my current goals with fitness right now. And then I'm consistently feeding it new data so it can track my progress and figure out where are my weak spots, what should we change, what should we keep in the workout program. So AI is just a really useful skill that can also just be a boon in your personal life as well. Finally, I spoke a bit about fitness. It's not directly an income skill, but I'd recommend that you educate yourself on fitness, because building your body will teach you so many things about yourself, about making progress, about pushing through pain. And honestly, it's like a meta skill that I think every young man should be doing. Because if you master fitness, if you spend 2 years trying to learn the ins and outs of fitness and you build a great body for yourself, you have literal proof on your body that you can turn a plan into a reality. And this skill would translate to any of the other skills I've mentioned here on this list. So honestly, if you don't know where to start, I'd actually recommend you start with fitness, focus on that until you master that, and then pick one of the other skills here. That's how I would do it if I was 18 again. And bonus, if you are really into fitness and you think this might be something that I want to try to make money off, you can get into online coaching and you can start creating fitness content and see if that's something that you might be able to make a career out of. The reason it's on this list is that it gives you so many benefits, and it's probably the single best habit you can build for yourself. You only have one body, so make sure to take care of it. And if you're feeling slightly overwhelmed now with all these different skills, I'd say just pick one skill that excites you for now and one that aligns with your goals, and master it before moving to the next. The key here isn't learning everything at once. That's one of the mistakes I did. I was hopping back and forth, never really mastering any one skill that I was doing. If you really want to become a high achiever, I'd recommend you just pick one of these, show up every day, and practice it until it becomes second nature. Looking back, what I wish I'd done earlier is starting earlier with bodybuilding, build an aesthetic body that I was proud of, and then figuring out which of these skills that I just mentioned excites me right now, and then just dedicate at least 2 years to that skill and see where it could take me. That would have given me massive confidence early on, and the tools to earn more and create my dream life, way before age 29 where I'm at right now. I could have probably done this had I known all of this, and had I trusted in this plan at age 25. And let me just remind you, you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or perfect plan. Start small, start consistent, and your future self will thank you. Now, let me know, which skill would you start with? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and help you take the next step. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and join the newssphere.